2. Very end of the board. And slide it up. Yeah, that. Now play it again.
Hi, I'm David Bray, co-host of For the Win on Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. And you are listening to BGSU Athletics right here on 88.1 FM, WBGU, HD1, and HD2, Bowling Green, Ohio. 4 to 6 p.m. And you are listening to BGSU Athletics right here on 88.1 FM, WBGU, HD1, and HD2, Bowling Green, Ohio. 4 to 6 p.m. And you are listening to BGSU Athletics right here on 88.1 FM,
We're still in a bit of a limbo here, trying to get set up.
Go ahead and fade it out.
Adam Goff, Donovan Mann, Jacob Saito here for further review. Very fitting song in terms of the Cleveland Browns are concerned, or the city to be precise.
And we're going to start taking shots early. Hello, welcome
We're
to
still in a bit of a limbo here, trying to get set up.
Before we get started, just a couple of things. First, we'd like to send our thoughts and prayers out to the family and friends of Washington State backup quarterback Tyler Hilinski, who unfortunately was ruled that he had taken his own life. And I just want to lose track and we get a little too sad here on the show. First, we're going to talk about some upcoming matchups for the 2018 season. Some non-conference play that people will be wanting to watch. The first one's on September 1st. It's an SEC-ACC matchup. It is Alabama versus Louisville. They're going to be playing that one in Orlando, Florida.
Lose track.
If I were to have to make a pick right now,
first we're going to talk about some upcoming matchups for the 2018
absolutely
some non-conference play that
Louisville
people
stands
want
a
to
chance,
watch.
especially
The first
with Lamar
one's on
Jackson
September
now
1st.
It's
an
SEC-ACC
still
matchup.
angry
It's
at
Alabama
versus
Louisville. They're going to be playing that one in.
Not because of, like, they've won national championship. That's not why. It was because of their attitude during the game that I got mad that they won. I mean, you got players throwing punches at their coaches on the sideline.
I don't even think it was just a punch. He had his helmet in the hand he threw, too. His helmet was like, I don't know if he actually hit the coach with it, but yeah. Certainly, yeah. They got heated. I think they started to
That's because of their attitude
feel the moment that they may not have been deserving of being in
you
that
got players throwing
championship
punches
game.
at their coaches on the
And I definitely
sideline.
think they
I don't
played
think it
a
was
very
just a
deep
punch. He had his
defense
helmet
that
in the
really
hand.
produced offense much
Too.
that year.
His helmet was
But
like,
yeah,
I don't know if he actually hit the coach with it, but yeah.
Freshman,
Certainly, yeah. They got heated. I think they got wide to. That's because their attitude. The moment that they.
Sorry.
Yeah, can you stop?
I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay. He was the number one dual threat prospect. And everybody's saying, well, there we go. We've got a number one overall pick. Let's not overreact like we did with Cardell Jones. And Cardell Jones stepped in for 3 games and won a national championship. Had 3 really good games, and what has Cardell Jones done since? Not much. Anyway, back to these upcoming matchups. And I'm not to say that Tula's not going to be a good player for Alabama. I know he probably will be. Anyway, Michigan at Notre Dame. This is one you pounding your chest over. A traditional rivalry game, September 1st, opener of the season for these two. And John Harbaugh said he was happy that this was. Was John Harbaugh number 16 when he played at Michigan?
Well, he didn't play at Michigan to begin with.
But was he?
John Harbaugh never played at Michigan.
Jim.
Jim Harbaugh was number 4.
Oh, he was. I thought this was a picture of him being tackled.
He was.
I think we're good.
You
Okay.
think?
95%.
All right, well.
Scooch.
Jacob's had a little.
I will go all the way over here. I will look dead into the camera. Hey, camera. Anyway, so yes, we do live stream. Jacob, feel free to share. Put his slide up, Adam.
Okay. Where you at?
He's at Mike 5. Where can they view this live stream?
We are streaming live on the Further Review YouTube page. I believe it's.
It should be Further Review.
Yes. Let me. It's just Further Review.
The name of our show, Further Review. All right. So,
Also, you can go to our Twitter account. I'm about to tweet out a link from there, as well as my personal account, and I will be posting it on my Facebook.
all right.
Last time the road team won between Michigan and Notre Dame was in 2010. That was the fifth to last one. So the home team has won each of the last 4. Based on what I saw with Michigan this past year, I would say they're going to lose this one, but it's too early at this point to predict.
Well, I think at this moment, you're right. It's too early to predict because there's going to be a quarterback change, I believe, for Notre Dame. Brandon Peters is going to be fighting with Dylan McCaffrey for his starting job. I fully expect Peters to probably come out of that one just based off experience.
Will Spate's gone.
Spate and O'Horn.
No, the Shane Patterson. The Ole Miss guy.
Right, yeah, Shane
He
Patterson
transferred.
too. So there's probably going to be a 3-way quarterback battle there between these players, between those 3 quarterbacks to see who's going to get it.
I think Patterson's going to win the job.
Possible. What? He's only is he a sophomore or junior?
I think he was a junior.
You think he was a junior?
Hi, Brendan.
Brendan's judging me on the Deshaun Kaiser jersey I'm wearing.
I would too. I was going to give you it earlier, but we got thrown off track.
Well, you know what? I wear it because I bought it. I don't expect him to.
Did you
go
buy
back
it to
too
the
much
game?
anymore. What?
Did you buy it at the Cleveland?
I did buy it.
Yeah, he did.
I have this tradition where I go and buy this
Yeah, that's right.
jersey if it's a new starting quarterback when I visit the stadium. So this year I will probably be buying it.
I was going to give you it.
Okay, the next matchup to talk about will be Auburn versus Washington. This one will be played in Atlanta. Yeah, sure, that's neutral between these two teams.
What's today's date?
Today
The
is
19th.
Thank you.
Today's the 19th. September 1st in Atlanta, Auburn versus Washington, Pac-12, SEC. I'm going to have to take out of this one. I'm going to have to swing this one to Auburn because I think they've got a better quarterback situation. I think they proved that they, as far as SEC contendant relevancy, they are back. I'm going to have to give this one to Auburn in a close one, especially since they will be clearly a
I would pump the brakes on Auburn right now. I wouldn't go too far ahead of myself as they're competitors again, but they're not a bad team. They did beat They did hand Alabama their one loss last year. If I were an Alabama fan, I would feel incomplete with that season.
I would too, because I think they should.
I wouldn't be satisfied with the end result.
I think they should.
If I were an Alabama fan, I would feel incomplete with that
I
season.
think they showed because the Mississippi State game was on the road. They had to come back from behind to win that one. The Auburn game, they got demolished on the road. And then we take a look at the Georgia game. I think, in all fairness, that was probably a Georgia-heavy crowd.
Yeah.
And they struggled. They had to change quarterbacks, and they still had to win it in overtime. I think also a lot of that has to do with Nick Saban outplayed Kirby Smart as far as the chess game of football is concerned. But they struggled a lot on the road last year at Alabama.
Does Ohio State have any games early?
They do. It's a couple games now. First, we're going to talk about USC
Oof.
at Texas.
Oh, not Ohio State.
Yeah, USC at Texas. As the Ohio State games, a couple games down.
Okay.
Trojans are going to be making a quarterback change because their quarterback, Sam Darnold, is out to the NFL. Texas is going to have a sophomore quarterback who's got a lot to expect. It's going to also be Tom Herman's second year as a head coach.
I don't expect
for
much out
the
of Texas.
Longhorns. I don't expect out of them much right now, but I think in a couple years, once his recruits start filtering into the system, I think Texas might be back to Big 12 competition. But I'm going to give this one to Texas because it's on the road, or because Texas is the home team.
Okay, next one. If Jacob doesn't want to say anything about it.
He's tweeting out
I'm
the link.
still working on getting the link set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've also got LSU versus Miami. This one's in Arlington, Texas.
LSU's in a bit of the down.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. You can. I agree. I like the Hurricanes because I think last year we saw a glimpse of what the Hurricanes can be.
I think Miami will make the playoff next year.
I think I definitely saw a glimpse of that because they went, what was it, 11-0 to start and then dropped their last
No, they won't.
three.
Why
Now
not?
when there's another team in Florida that's going to make the playoffs.
What's that? Florida State?
The
Yeah.
University of Central Florida, 2017 national champions. And no, I am not being facetious.
Yeah,
You're better.
everywhere that UCF is like everywhere, like they're labeling themselves as national champions, which is somewhat true. I mean, they beat the two teams that they were playing, that were playing for the quote unquote national championship, were two teams that lost to the team that they beat in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. But yeah, I like Miami in that one because I think Miami's definitely on the upward swing. People have been saying, "Oh, the U's back." I think if you're Miami though, the U's not back until they win a national championship, and I think they're going to compete this year. Not sure about make it, but they'll definitely be in the conversation.
If they can beat Clemson, they'll get in.
There you go.
They didn't last year.
Yeah, because they lost in the national in the ACC championship. Now we've got TCU versus Ohio State. This is going to be in Arlington, Texas. Ohio State's going to be I think offensively, Ohio State will look a lot differently under Dwayne Haskins because he can still run the ball, but his arm is a lot better than JT Barrett's was. And this is assuming, of course, that Dwayne Haskins, who's right now the favorite to take over the job, actually is it. Not to mention you're going to have Mike Weber coming back for his redshirt junior season, and J.K. Dobbins. That is a killer back pair duo out of Ohio State. So I like Ohio State, especially if their defense can show up here against the TCU offense, because we all know the Big 12 don't play defense.
Next.
Tennessee versus West Virginia. This is the Chick-fil-A, I believe it's the Chick-fil-A SEC ACC kickoff. No, I'm not just kidding, because neither of those are ACC teams. Anyway, this is a game going to be played in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the Panthers Stadium. Tennessee and West Virginia. Tennessee is going to be under a new head coach. West Virginia always seems to start out well, and then they just kind of fall off the wagon.
They shouldn't be in the Big 12 to begin with.
No, they probably are the most irrelevant, most out there Big 12 team. They belong. Geographically, they would belong more in the ACC, I think.
Yeah.
Or the Big Ten.
Or the Big Ten.
No, I don't want them in the Big Ten.
I don't want them in the Big Ten either. I'm just saying.
I want Notre Dame in the Big Ten.
They're going to be in the Big Ten eventually.
I think yes. Well, it's either that or the ACC. They split. But yeah, I think
They have a stronger relationship with the ACC.
That's they play.
But football, they want to be in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they probably would. UCLA.
Notre Dame is too arrogant to join the conference.
Until NCAA makes them and says they can't play football if they don't.
UCLA at Oklahoma. By the way, I was looking on the ACC website. They said, well, the ACC plays most Power 5 non-conference games than any other opponents, and then they said that includes Notre Dame. I'm like, technically Notre Dame's not a Power 5 conference school. They're an independent, so they are at that level, but they're not a Power 5 school. UCLA at Oklahoma. Chip Kelly taking over. Oklahoma will be out with Baker Mayfield. Chip Kelly's going to be taking over UCLA.
I don't think it's going to take long for UCLA to be a contender.
I don't think it will be either.
I think it's going to be the first game of the season for people to start saying they're a contender.
I actually like UCLA in this one very slightly because
I'll take UCLA.
I don't even know who's taking over at quarterback for Oklahoma. Like, that's how well Baker Mayfield's done it. There's never been any conversation about his backup. And Clemson at Texas A&M. I'm going to give it to Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo.
And then any selection on this one? Texas A&M and Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson.
And then we've got Colorado at Nebraska. Frost taking over at Nebraska. Colorado never been relevant. I think Frost makes a name.
Don't
for
say
himself.
never.
Well, okay. Recently, not. They haven't been.
Let's go Bison.
I'm going to take Nebraska on this
Or are
one.
they Buffalo? I think they're the Colorado Bison, aren't they?
No, they're the Buffalo.
Buffaloes.
Buffaloes.
Toss up.
All right, and get your hand off me. And with that, we will step aside. You're listening to Further Review here on Falcon Radio with Donovan Mann, this guy who keeps turning off my buttons, Jacob Seidel, and Adam Gall.
Are you interested in career in sports broadcasting?
Yeah, do a promo, then PSA, so do like the OHSAA.
This past year, we
OHSAA.
OHSAA.
It's the only white square.
men's and women's basketball.
Or
Nah.
gray. And then do a non-legal, so like Jay Crawford.
Okay.
Or Dickie V or Tom Hamilton.
RSL
Hi, Stick Vital with ESPN and ABC. Okay.
Let's take the time out to talk about educational athletics.
Jacob, you're bringing us in.
Sports are an extension of the
You know what? No, Donovan, you're bringing us in.
We're going to be doing recruiting.
Sports by succeeding during the school day first before they put on the team uniform.
You ready for that?
Student athletes prove that with better attendance
Donovan,
rates,
you bring us in, all right?
Okay.
and fewer discipline issues than non-student athletes. That's what it means.
Are you ready to talk recruiting?
High School Athletic
Yeah.
Association.
Okay, I know you are.
Presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Hi, everybody. It's Nick Vitale,
Tell of ESPN and ABC.
and you're listening to the Frequency Broadcasting. More games than any college station in baby. 88.1 FM, WBGU.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Further Review, starring Donovan Mann, Adam Gaw, and Jacob Seidel. And I'm Donovan Mann, talking kind of like Dick Vitale. I don't know how well that sounded because the music playing in my ear. How'd that sound?
That sounded pretty close.
That's pretty good. Okay, and now that we're back, we're going to talk about some NCAA football recruiting here. We're going to take a look here at the top recruiting classes for 2018 brought to you by, I believe, this source has been doing 24/7 sports.com. This one has Georgia ranked first and Ohio State ranked second, followed by Texas third, Penn State fourth, and then your top five rounded out by Alabama. Alabama with only one 5-star recruit in the top five. Texas
They're going to get more than a couple come signing day.
I know it's rather early. We still got signing day. By the way, the number 4, according to Bleacher Report, the number 4 defensive tackle in the nation, Tyler Friday, commits to Ohio State on Friday. Ha ha ha. Probably didn't know. He's a 4-star defensive tackle recruit. He joins an already loaded defensive tackle class for Ohio State.
Well,
God, how many defensive tackles are they? They like Ohio State likes their linemen. They continue to get deeper and deeper as far as defensive line is concerned.
well, the one 5-star recruit that Michigan was seriously going after, Amon-Ra St. Brown, out of Anaheim, California, ride or die, committed to USC. I didn't see that until just now, but there goes Michigan's only serious 5-star.
Recruit.
Yeah, they're only serious. The only one that they were seriously going after. There he goes. But the highest ranked recruit that is uncommitted at this point, his name is Patrick Surtain Jr. out of Fort Lauderdale, which is South Florida is a hotbed for football as of late.
Yes, it really has been because they tend to produce faster, more athletic
Yeah.
guys.
And that showed at Florida with the Tim Tebows and Percy Harpins and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And but yeah, he's favored to go to LSU. 95% chance according to 24/7. But the number 1 recruit in the country. This is one of the best pro-style quarterbacks to come out of the high school level in a while now. His name is Trevor Lawrence out of Cartersville, Georgia. He committed to Clemson, I think, almost a year ago. He was sold to Clemson real early. But
I think he saw an opportunity in Clemson because Deshaun Watson out of the picture. There is no way Bryant is keeping that job after the way he performed in the playoffs. I honestly think he expects to instantly take over that position, which I would be surprised because that's exactly what they did with Deshaun Watson. He was a 3-year starter his freshman year, and what I like about Deshaun Watson as well is he did it right. He graduated in 3 years. He didn't just go for 3 years. He got his degree in 3 years.
Well, Trevor Lawrence might be starting right away. We'll have to wait and see, but he is certainly one of the top guys out there. Right behind him as a dual threat guy. No, he's not going to Alabama, unlike last year. He's going to Georgia. Justin Fields out of Kennesaw, Georgia. Home state kid. Let's look at the defensive side of the ball. We got Xavier Thomas out of Bradenton, Florida. We got the number one player out of the Midwest overall, regardless of position, Micah Parsons, defensive end out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He goes to, I think Ohio State's trying to go after him, but he goes to the in-state school like he should. Well, you guys got your share of state guys.
Well, we get plenty of out-of-state guys.
But USC is making USC has been back in the trend now that they've kind of come back starting after last year.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with their quarterback situation there because they relied on Darnold pretty heavily these past 2 years.
Well, let's look at Ohio State's recruiting class so far. I think they have the number 2 in the nation. Well, I would argue that Clemson has an even better class than Ohio State, but
they're ranked 9th according to 247.
Anyway, you want to break down Ohio State's class so far?
Sure, hold on, let me pull it up here. They've got their top recruit is a safe. Really? Their top recruit is a safety from Jacksonville, Florida. 6'1". He's a 5-star recruit with a 99 grade 99 rating. He is number 1 in his position, number 20 nationally, and number 4 in the state. They've also got Matthew Jones. What does OC stand for?
Offensive center.
Offensive center. Normally they just put C, that's why I was confused. He's got a 97 grade, number 1 in his position. Also, Tommy Tokia. He's a defensive tackle. Max Way, an offensive tackle. Dallas Grant, an outside linebacker. And these are just students enrolled right now. Antoine Jackson Jr., 4-star recruit, defensive tackle. Running back Master T, 5'11", 4-star. He's number 10 in his position, number 6 in the state, 225. And also enrolled in classes. They've got a cornerback, Seven Banks, 4-star. They've got quite a few players. They've got some defensive tackles, tight ends, inside linebackers, they have a wide receiver, a couple running backs, a couple athletes, pro style quarterback too. Matthew Baldwin, 3-star recruit. Probably is not going to be staying at the school very long. He's only a 3-star. He was 447th ranked nationally, 20th in his position, and he's number 61 in his state. And then also Marcus Hooker, defensive back, 6 foot, sitting at 6 feet, a 3-star corner. And yeah, pretty good, solid class. And again, more I think to come on National Signing Day.
The nation's number 1 overall prospect in 2020. So this is a sophomore class right now. He's visiting Michigan this weekend. He's already gotten offers from 22 schools, and he's a sophomore.
What's his position?
Huh?
What's his position?
Defensive end. They're calling him the best defensive lineman since Rashawn Gary. And he's a sophomore in high school. He already has 22 offers from Alabama and Maryland. His home
ridiculous.
His home state school, Ohio State.
Some of these guys start getting offers when they're like in the womb. To be honest, so
I guarantee if there's another Bosa, he will be. If there ends up being another Bosa, he will be offered a scholarship at the age of 2.
I don't think there's going to be another Bosa.
I know.
But his name is Brian Bresee. Anyway, 6'4", 260 pounds, and he is visiting Michigan this weekend.
Now we're going to take a look at the way too early top 25. We're just going to look at the first couple teams here.
I never broke down Michigan's class.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I closed out the page actually, but no, I got it back up here pretty quick because I'm like that. I get things done quickly. 14th overall, ranked 14th in the nation, 3rd in the Big Ten because the Big Ten is the best conference in football. That message is directed at a specific person, I know. Miles Sims,
Amen.
out of Westlake High School in Atlanta, Georgia, 4-star corner. You got Mustafa Muhammad out of Missouri City, Texas, tight end. You got Joe Milton, a pro-style quarterback out of Orlando, ranked ninth ranked quarterback in the country. You got a couple of defensive ends, a couple of offensive tackles, and that wraps it up for those. As far as the 4 stars go, and
Your
Ohio
mic was
State.
coming on air.
and
Oh,
Ohio State's is still edging out Michigan as far
Sorry.
as the recruiting goes.
All right, now we're going to take a look at the way too early top 25. This surprised me that they would put Clemson up so high. I mean, yeah, they won the ACC for quite a few years. They've been in contention for the past 3 years. They've made it to the playoffs, 3 years, 4 years now? 3 years in a row. But the way they just looked offensively, they have 7 remaining offensive starters, 8 remaining defensive starters, and 2 special team starters. But they did not look good offensively, especially against Alabama. Alabama slapped them around, which I didn't expect them to be able to beat Alabama's defense.
Well, how many guys out of Clemson are leaving for the draft? Not very many.
That's
They're a pretty young team.
But just the way they looked offensively. Then I saw that they had got the number 1 pocket passing pro-style quarterback in the country, and I said, okay, I can understand now where we're getting this from. If that guy can amount to what he claims he can be, and he can cut his hair, because I swear he's going to get that hair pulled by someone he rubs the wrong way. Then,
Hold on,
of course,
I want to show his hair on the camera here that we got on the right hand side.
just picture like.
Oh,
a
looks
very
like he did cut
scary-
his hair. He did cut
Did
his
he?
hair. Yeah.
He had hair that ran down to like his
Yeah,
shoulders.
that's him now.
Oh, okay. I was saying,
Yeah,
he
he
had
cut his
hair
hair.
that ran down to like past his shoulders.
that used to be the thing though for linemen. If you ever see tape of an old Ohio State game,
Oh yeah, I know that.
they've all got the long hair.
He was a quarterback. Sunshine. Then you've got number 2 Alabama in the way too early top 25. No surprise there. I think a lot would argue that they would need back, but they are losing Calvin Ridley, Bo Scarborough. Top names. Also mentioned, of course, Mika Fitzpatrick and a bunch of other guys, but they do have Tua Tagovailoa to look forward to. He'll probably be the starter over Jalen Hurts. Then Ohio State at number 3. I think after they went out there and did what they did to USC, I think they proved that they should have been in there. I think over Clemson, I think was the one team I could argue that didn't belong in the playoffs this year after watching the playoffs. They are losing, of course, JT Barrett, who's going into the draft. He's probably not going to get drafted. Of course, Denzel Ward will also be leaving. Damon Webb, Jerome Baker, a lot of guys leaving for the draft. Jamarco Jones, Billy Price, Tyquan Lewis, and Chris Worley. However, they are getting both their runner backs. Mike Weber could have entered the draft. He's decided he wanted to stay one more year. I think that's probably a smart
If I could
move
say something about Hunter Johnson, he's the highest ranked pro-style quarterback in the history of 24/7 Sports. History.
There you go.
But I looked at the top 15, 20 guys. None of them have had NFL success. None of them.
None.
None.
Not even Tom Brady.
He was not a highly touted quarterback.
Oh, I know.
But
He wasn't even drafted high. That's the thing. Tom Brady is one of those. The thing is, Tom Brady's probably one of your biggest exceptions to the rule. As far as like, well, you have to get this quarterback in the top, it would be terrible. Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers didn't come in the top.
yeah, he did.
He was second
Oh, he
round. He was like early second
He
round
was
pick.
he was 24th overall.
Oh, was he in the first round?
He was expected to go top 5, and he dropped all the way to 24.
The Browns passed on him. The Browns were expected to take him. He's another. He's
I-
another guy.
Here's another Browns joke.
We will go over that. Just really quick.
Before I forget though, a Browns joke. Here's a Browns joke for you. The Browns took Spurgeon win over Tom Brady.
Shut up. All right, just finish rounding this out. Oklahoma ranked top 4. Obviously, the biggest loss for them is going to be Baker Mayfield, and then Georgia is the last team in the top 5. They're losing both their top running backs. That is Nick Chubb and Sonny Mitchell, and a couple other key pieces, including Roquan Smith. And now your weather, brought to you by this app on my phone.
Is it WT forecast?
No, it's
Yes.
not. This one gives me. I love that app, but
Love it. I got it on Saturday. I'm keeping it for life.
so sad. All right, it is 35 and sunny out there, friends,
And no matter which direction you're walking in, the wind will blow in your face.
which is what makes it feel like 25 out there. Sun's going to be setting at 5:35. And now we're going to take a look into your future forecast here.
I
It's
think
going to
Jacob.
expect to drop to about 31 here, 39 tomorrow with a low of 35. Partly cloudy, 20% chance of rain. On Sunday, it'll be rain. It'll be about 30% chance of rain. It'll be cloudy, 40 as your high, 38 as your low. That is called a low temperature range into environmental class. And then on Monday, it will be 70% chance of rain, 49 as your low, as your high, 35 as your low, and then possibly snowing on Tuesday.
Or, as my app would like to say, clear, cold BS.
Yeah.
That's not one of the better ones.
No, there's
No.
been some pretty good ones. So most of which we probably shouldn't repeat on air. Anyway,
Blank. It's chilly out.
before we get in trouble,
We're not going to get in trouble
Let's
if
go
I
ahead.
censor it.
let's go ahead and talk about the NFL postseason continuing on, the divisional rounds. Y'all laughed at me.
Hang on. Chilly like a duck's butt on a cold pond.
Speaking of ponds, you know that the ponds by the music building, people have actually walked across them?
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
I've seen like footsteps. I keep telling, because I go to the gym daily. I keep saying to Liana, I'm like, you want to walk across that? She's like, no. I'm like, yeah. 'Cause that's are my fatness will right there. Anyway,
I've got a pair of rollerblades.
how's that gonna help? Anyway,
It's gonna get jammed in the snow.
Anyway, so the divisional rounds. Let's go ahead and start with a doozy here. Jacksonville knocking off Pittsburgh.
I hate these games. 45-42.
That's very weird considering it came off of Jacksonville only having to score 10 points to beat Buffalo. I think we showed exactly what could happen when Jacksonville's offense clicked. And I think they're going to have even more success against the Patriots offense.
Well, it showed that Jacksonville can win both in a low-scoring affair and in a shootout.
I think it did. And
Jacksonville will be for real over the coming years.
I think they will. It'll be interesting to see if they. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but it'll be interesting to see if they hang on to Blake Bortles or not. Because there's been talk about his future. This is a contract year, and they may just decide to say goodbye. Then we've also got the Tennessee Titans getting slapped around by the Patriots and Tom Brady.
We were expecting this.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of assumption that this was going to be the case. Tennessee didn't have the defense, nor did they really have the development. In fact, their head coach Malarkey.
I think it's Malarkey.
Yeah, Malarkey they decided to not go through with the contract extension, is what they said. Part of me feels like, because they said, we're going to offer you a contract extension. They came, we're not. We're going to fire you. And then I think part of that probably came out to be like, we're going to give you a contract extension if you can beat the Patriots.
Couldn't do that.
And so now he's in conversation possibly to become the next
You know
offensive
who's good at
coordinator
beating
for the Rams.
Patriots?
Who?
Cam Newton.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. I almost wore his jersey today. So
Do you know who's going to beat the Patriots?
they're not going to be the Browns.
Blake Bortles.
Anyway, we'll get to future predictions here coming up. And then the NFC side of things, number 1 seed versus number 6 seed. The Eagles came out after only scoring via the field goals. You can't necessarily say that Nick Foles had a terrible day. I mean, he was 246, 23 for 30. He was out there being a field general, which is what you kind of expect from a backup quarterback. And they beat Atlanta. The only touchdown of the game was scored by Matt Ryan, throwing it up. I think, was it Sanu? I think it was Sanu that he tossed it to. But Matt Ryan, 210, 1 touchdown to his name. But in the end of the day, the Eagles got their playoff win that they were looking for.
I was tossed up on this game beforehand. Everybody was picking Atlanta to win this game.
I was
Everybody.
Too.
I said, Atlanta has really had a bad trend as of late. I think they're going to choke on their own stuff.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what I said. If the Eagles were going to have a chance to win that game, it was only going to be because the game was being played outdoors.
There you go.
And that's really what it came down to.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes us over to now the 29-24 victory. I think this is the best game.
We have one more game? We had the Titans, the Jaguars, we went through all of
this
them.
is
Have you heard the Vikings radio call of that game?
I have not.
Let's take a play of that right now. We do have some time for that.
I'm sorry, YouTube, you won't be able to hear it because I can't figure out how to get this dumb thing hooked up.
I can do it.
I meant to my computer.
Let's see here. Radio call. Here it is right here.
That's they've actually been using a hashtag saying the Indianapolis Miracle.
That shouldn't have happened to begin with.
There was a couple things there was one thing that went wrong for the Saints, and that was the bad tackle.
Two things. Number 1, the tackle. Number 2, the defensive play call.
Yeah, I don't know quite what do you mean by the defensive play call?
They were rushing 4, and they had only 1 guy beat.
Yeah. I don't disagree with the rushing 4, but I definitely think they probably could have dropped into at least a cover 2.
They should have had 2. They should have had 2 or 3 guys 30 yards downfield.
I feel sorry for the rookie, though. That poor kid. He's a rookie. He had a pretty good season, but he didn't want to interfere. He whiffed the tackle badly. Actually ended up taking out his own player. And then for Minnesota, for Diggs, was Diggs, right?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
For Diggs to not fall, because he'd already been touched at that point.
He stayed in bounds.
To not fall, which would have run the clock out. To then not stumble out of bounds when he was trying to complete the catch. And then there was that moment where you see him look to go out of bounds, then he looks forward, sees there's nothing but green, and go.
Yep.
Because he could have stepped out of bounds, stopped the clock. They could have kicked a field goal, which we all know. Game-winning field goals for Minnesota in the playoffs.
This is the same people that in sub-zero temperatures just a few years ago saw him miss a 26-yard field goal.
It's Walsh, right? It was still Walsh.
Blair Walsh. This was the same people 3 years ago that had to watch their home team in sub-zero temperatures with this chip shot field goal.
That ended up...
the
Seahawks ended up going to that championship. They won it that year, didn't they?
No, it was
that was the year they lost to the Patriots.
Yeah. No, it was the very next year. It was the next year that they lost to New England. They lost to Carolina in the next game.
Right, that was the year that Panthers won. No,
which you almost lost that one too. I remember that. The Seahawks all came back in that one.
That was the team that I was most afraid of, because the Seahawks. We've always had a problem with the Seahawks.
But as far as the Vikings fans go, like, how can you go against the Vikings right now? You know,
the Vikings are for real. They've got a good offense. They've got great defense.
Yeah,
they have what it takes to win the the championship this year, win it all this year.
We can say it on here.
I know. That's how I was going to phrase it.
Okay. Anyway, we can move into our championship picks now. The NFC is really tough.
One thing I want to say before we do, let's just talk about the quarterback matchup for this NFC Championship game. Nick Foles and Case Keenum. Just as a recap for you guys.
One of these guys is going to play in the Super Bowl.
These are two guys that were considered absolute failures when they played for the Rams, when Jeff Fisher was the head coach.
Which Jeff Fisher isn't a very good coach to begin with.
No, he's actually tied for the losing game. He's tied.
And he's running his mouth. And he's running his mouth off about how he set them up perfectly.
Right. Go ahead. Do you have something to say?
No, I'm out of it kind of today, guys.
That's okay. We're having a pretty good conversation over here. But these are two guys that Jeff Fisher almost completely ruined. And yeah, now he's off running his mouth saying, "Oh, look what I did! Look how well I set them up." I'm like, dude, if you had been still coaching them, they would have gone 7-9.
They would have gone 1-15, one game better than the Browns.
Anyway, Keenum actually replaced Foles as the quarterback, and then both ended up going separate ways. These two guys have taken a long road, been with a couple different teams each, and wow, now they're both out there. Obviously, I think if Keenum wins this game, though, we can wins the NFC Championship game. That if he wins the Super Bowl, I think we stop talking Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is going to go find himself somewhere else because I think the Vikings will stick with Case Keenum. He will be their better version of Tony Romo, the undrafted guy that nobody would have really ever thought had a chance.
This is a hard game.
This is a very hard game.
But concerning these two things, number one, Vikings momentum, sky high right now. Their momentum, but you also have to consider the fact that this is a dome team playing in a cold setting.
They are a dome team, but they're not. This is only their second year in a dome. So yes, they
Actually,
are
it's not. It's just they didn't play in the dome for 5 years.
2 years.
I mean, yeah. No,
because the Metrodome broke, and they had to move to.
It's the only case, and I forgot about that.
They still played in there for another 2 years, and then they replaced it.
Okay.
Here's a fact that I know. Here's some trivia that I know. 11 teams who play in domes have played on the road, outdoors, in 11 conference championship games. They have lost every single one of them.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. I think that if any dome team has a chance to win an outdoor playoff game, like in the cold in Philly, I'm gonna say it's definitely Minneapolis.
I'm gonna say so. I think so too because I think they would have the opportunity to say, okay, guys, practice outside today to prepare for that.
Oh, and I guarantee they have been.
Yeah, that is.
And Minnesota's even worse than Philly.
Oh yeah. Oh, way worse.
I wouldn't say way worse.
The snowstorm we got here was like 10 times worse in Minneapolis. Like they showed pictures of it during the game on Sunday. Yeah, it was. There was a lot of snow. They were working very hard to make sure that the roads were clear when the fans got out. Then there was the woman who got. Actually, we're gonna make our predictions for these two games when we come back. We're gonna step aside for the review here on Falcon Radio. Donovan Mann, Jacob Seidel, despite not saying much today, and Adam Daw. Do not touch that time.
Are you interested in
Hello?
If so, then the whole Radio Sports Organization.
I hate how Noah uses the same song for every promo. He actually apparently got told, though, the songs he's been using aren't royalty, which is weird because he's gotten them from a free royalty website.
Royalty free.
Royalty free.
So we have to stop using those songs.
What?
So what you're saying is we have to stop using those songs.
The ones he's been using, yes.
Okay, what else do I play? Grounds for Thought?
Yes. This thing
No, just play, it's going to be a PSA than a non-league.
It needed a twist, like this was loose.
Oh.
let's take a time out to talk about educational athletics.
No.
That means the school sports are an extension of the classroom.
Jacob, you want to take us in as much as you don't want to?
Let's do this.
During the school day first, before they put on the team uniform after.
Let's get crap cracking.
Still the best moment. By the way, turn all of our sliders down because we're all naturally talking people. Turn them down like a notch or two.
This is Tom Hamilton, voice of the Cleveland Indians. You're listening to all the high-flying action of Falcon Sports on 88.1 WBGU.
I can't help.
You had to do that.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I had to do it. Welcome back here to further review on Falcon Radio and YouTube Live. It's great, everybody. Hello, as Donovan tells Adam to do things better.
No, I was just, because his back is turned. I've been looking at the recording equipment and like the levels bars on those have been peaking this whole time we talked. So
We did have some audio problems with you and Tom the other day
like what?
at the game.
Like what?
You were soft and he was.
That's
Loud
because
for
the
you.
microphone. His microphone is a lot better than the one I was using. I was fiddling with it all game, trying to get it work better. Thanks for. I'll keep a note of that though.
What was that? The crappy headset? The one that has the flat mic instead of like the round mic.
The smaller mic.
Yeah, but you have to put that thing in your mouth to get it to work. Like
I'm just turning up the. I'm a naturally loud speaker anyway. I will.
right, but that mic does not work unless it is in
Yeah.
your mouth.
Well, the thing is, if I use the other mic, I sound way too loud, and then you'll turn your levels down until I basically turn it off, and then I can't hear myself.
So if I'm wearing that headset, I gotta put the mic in my mouth, like
Basically,
inside
yes.
my teeth.
Yeah, basically.
Yes, you basically need to taste it.
We need new headsets.
Eat it.
Anyway,
2 cold climate championship games. This is what I like in the playoffs.
well, we've got one Florida team playing the New England team outside, and we've got one Minnesota team playing the Philadelphia team outside. 2 outside games. I want snow in both. Probably not going to happen. Let's go ahead and talk about this Jacksonville Patriots matchup to begin with. Just a little bit of a background on this information. I did some research on this. This will be the best defense that Tom Brady and the Patriots have played, and this will be the best offense that Jalen Ramsey and the Jacksonville defenses play. This is actually a pretty good matchup, despite everybody saying, "Oh, Patriots are going to blow them out." I don't think it'll be a blowout. I actually like Jacksonville because Jacksonville reminds me a lot of the Broncos team that won the Super Bowl in 2015.
Jacob.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. But I think it's just we're gonna have 2 new blood quarterbacks for 2 teams that have never won the Super Bowl in the Super Bowl. I'm calling it this year.
I mean, they've won it. They just
Jacksonville hasn't won it. Minnesota hasn't won
they
it.
haven't won it.
The Eagles haven't won it either.
No,
They've all been there.
3 of 4 teams have never won the Super Bowl.
Then there's guy who's going 5. Anyway, so you're
And
gonna.
don't think Jacksonville doesn't get cold weather, because they do.
Oh, I know. You can get cold weather down in Florida. I like the Jags in this one because the Patriots had a, I'm not going to say terrible, but not a really good time running the ball.
No.
And that is when the Jacksonville Jaguars are the best, is when Leonard Fournette gets going and there's no pressure on, or very little pressure put on Blake Bortles. That is when this team is at their best. And that's why I think Fournette has a field day. Jacksonville by a field goal. What you guys got? Jacob, Adam, selection?
We got a couple of injuries in this AFC title game. Leonard Fournette was in a car accident, as far as I know, right?
It was a fender bender, yes. I actually think the fender came off.
And Tom Brady smashed his right hand in practice.
And hasn't.
The Saw style. That movie. That's.
I don't think
I'm just joking, but.
I don't think he's played. Has he practiced today?
It'll be hard. It might be hard for him to take snaps bang, snap, 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 snap. For the entire
So-
game.
What I'm hearing is Brian Hoyer is going to be the starting quarterback
I saw
for the
one.
New England Patriots.
I saw one of those joke accounts that said Brian Hoyer will be. It was Ian Rappaport's fake account, like not him actually.
He has
Yeah.
Ian Rappaport has a fake account now.
Okay,
yeah,
now,
that's a fake account.
now don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's like
Brian Hoyer is
It's
a
like
good quarterback when he has
Rappy or
people
something.
around him. And you can
I get that, Donovan.
you can prove, like, Brian Hoyer's shown he can be a good quarterback when he has people around him.
He actually took the Browns to a 7-win season. That's amazing.
well, Johnny Manziel actually started. No, actually, I
No,
don't think he
Hoyer
won.
started.
I don't think Johnny Manziel started any of the wins, did he?
He started 1 win the next season.
All right, so you're right though. Also that Tom Brady's hand injury. It's gonna depend. He says
I'll have to
he
make,
doesn't want to talk about it. That's the thing. He didn't say I'm fine. He said I don't want to talk about it.
it'll have to be a game time decision for me in terms of who I'm picking for this game.
I'm picking Jacksonville.
And you know if Jacksonville wins this game, what we're gonna hear from Patriots fans. Well, Tom Brady wasn't 100%.
Well, big deal. No other team's been 100% in 500 years. Exaggeration.
And now we're gonna go look at the Vikings-Eagles game outside Philadelphia. Nick Foles, Case Keenum.
Well, it's in Philadelphia. He said outside.
Outside.
Outside in Philadelphia.
Yeah. It's an
East Philadelphia born.
Oh no. It's west.
Oh, is it?
In West
It's-
Philadelphia.
East?
The
I
stadium,
thought you
the
said
stadium,
East.
the stadium is in
That's
the
what
south.
happened.
But this stadium is in the south side of the city.
South
So-
Philadelphia born and raised.
The fact that the Eagles weren't able to produce a single touchdown against the Falcons.
Hold on. Still on.
Oh,
It is
my.
Philly.
It is Philly. The fact that the Eagles weren't able to produce against the Falcons off or defense tells me that this even better Minnesota defense is gonna have a field day. I don't even think it's gonna be close. I think Minnesota's gonna run with it. I think they're gonna be the first.
I don't know if
team
they're
to
gonna
host
run with
I
it.
think they're gonna be the first ever host city to have their team.
Well, technically not. In their stadium, yeah. But we have had a team host the Super Bowl. It's been 38 years.
The article I read said this would be the first one ever. That no team has ever hosted the.
No,
Yeah,
Has
since
been in it.
they used to play the Super Bowl at on home field advantage, didn't they?
The NFL title game.
Right.
But Super Bowl, we've had one team, the LA Rams, who play in the USC Stadium. They played in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl in that stadium versus Steelers, which they lost. That's the closest that we've seen.
So this is the actual first ever home.
Yeah, and
Home stadium.
in the home stadium, yes.
That's yeah. So I think Vikings by a touchdown and a half.
You can't score half a point.
By 10.
This is your
By 10. A touchdown is technically
It's,
only
it's
6
Vegas
points.
language that you're using here.
Technically, a touchdown is only 6 points. The extra point is the 7. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. So technically, I said that.
I think the Vikings are gonna. I think it's gonna.
I was gonna dramatically pretend to throw my headset.
The guy wearing a Deshaun Kaiser jersey.
You're so extra, Donovan.
I am extra. Are you going to the hockey game?
I am going to the hockey
Are you
game.
playing?
I don't know yet.
He is wearing a hockey jersey. If you can't see it,
I mean, our listeners. Anyway,
I don't see us coming down to the wire. I see one of these teams winning with time spare.
I'm going to call Philadelphia just because I called the Saints last week and I'm not making that mistake.
They should have won.
They should have. But they screwed it up.
they should have. And so, that will conclude this portion of the NFL talk.
I think we're done with college too. So
Yeah, we're done with college too.
So we're done with
Mel
football
Kiper.
altogether.
No, we're not.
Mel
Way
Kiper.
too early dressed. Yeah.
Yeah, Mel Kiper just released his first draft. Josh Allen? Really?
Again, I've been saying it. He's
No.
the best quarterback at for the Browns offense.
No,
he's
he's
6'5".
This is the new Myles Garrett versus Mitch Trubisky here.
He's 6'5", 250-some pounds. Rocket for an arm. Can run. Throws 59% of his passes against nobodies. Basically, Mel Kiper has predicted that the Browns are going to do the Browns thing and pick the biggest bust potential player as far as quarterback goes. Fortunately, I don't subscribe to his thing.
He's
Sorry.
6'5", 230 pounds. And again, watching him play against Central Michigan, who had the best defense in the MAC this year, he looked Aaron Rodgers-esque. I honestly think.
But who has he played, and has he played successfully against? That's the thing. To me, he reminds me way too much of DeShone Kizer.
DeShone Kizer was at least Notre Dame. He did play some competition, but he is still a bust quarterback.
Jacob's using my laptop to look things up, which is funny.
Mine's running a live stream.
Schedule. He's going to go to the 2018 schedule. It's the Cowboys. He should have gone to 2017. Make sure that is football. And they're from the Midwest Mountain Conference. They're from the Midwest
What conference?
It's the Mountain West Conference, sorry.
Okay, it's the must have been 20.
No, it should have been 2017.
Do we have to go to breakup for?
Yes.
Well, let's look here. They beat Northern Illinois in 3 overtimes in 2016.
You need triple overtime to beat Northern Illinois.
When this is when Northern Illinois was like a good team. They lost to a Big Ten school, yeah, but they beat UC Davis, beat Colorado State, beat Air Force, beat Nevada, beat
none of these schools are good.
Beat number 13 Boise State in 2016.
Boise State's not very good anymore, not since Chris Peterson left.
And beat San Diego State.
They lost in triple overtime to UNLV. Lost to New Mexico. Lost to San Diego State.
And then 2017, lost to Iowa, but they beat Hawaii, Texas State, Utah, and oh wow, they didn't have a good season.
No, they went.
I watched the Iowa game. He looked horrible against Big Ten Iowa.
I'm not sold because I'm not sold on him, because he has been labeled as boom or bust, and knowing the Browns, it will be a bust if we take it.
I still think he's a better choice than Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen.
Well,
especially Rosen. Rosen's going to be another Johnny Manziel.
I don't think he's going to be.
Oh yes, he is. Did you? He went golfing on a Trump golf course and wore a hat that said F Trump and posted it all over his Twitter. That's Johnny Manziel level distraction. Same goes for Baker Mayfield.
He doesn't have the legal
Same goes for Baker Mayfield if the Browns decide to go after him.
Baker Mayfield is more like
Rosen and Mayfield are going to be distractions off the field. I'd rather have Sam Darnold or Josh Allen, who they're both solid. They both can be solid quarterbacks.
Here's the thing. I'm laughing because entering this season in the last draft, everybody's saying, well, if you don't get a quarterback in this draft, next year's draft, 2018 draft, that's quarterback deep. I mean, that is very deep quarterback. Now I'm sitting here thinking, and everybody's like everywhere you see, it's like, we've actually all been really disappointed with how this has turned out. Like, there's been a lot of people incredibly disappointed with how these quarterbacks have turned out. And as a Browns fan, I'm saying our best bet is we have to sign Cousins to just stabilize the position for the next 5 years. And I will talk more on that after this break. You're listening to Further Review here on Falcon Radio. Do not touch that dial.
Hi, I'm David Bray, co-host of For the Win.
And then Grants for Thought, and then we'll get back.
And you are listening to BGSU Athletics right here on 88.1 FM, WBGU, HD1, and HD2.
Sponsorship for WBGU programming is brought to you by
Triggered!
Still never been to Grants for Thought.
It's pretty good if you want that kind of atmosphere. It's
I'm back.
pretty good atmosphere.
I went to San B's today.
Green, Ohio.
Never been. Anyway, this is further review with Donovan Mann, Jacob Seidel, and Adam Gall. Wow.
Best intro song we've ever had on here.
Wrong. Wrong. You are fake
You
news.
got fake news. Get that. Anyway.
Everyone says I have small hands.
Anyway.
That's not true.
Anyway. So I was talking about how I believe that Kirk Cousins is the best bet for the Browns for the quarterback in this. And why I say that is because under John Dorsey, we can follow a very similar path to success that he did with the Chiefs. He went and got Alex Smith, who functioned as their quarterback for 4 or 5 years. Stabilized their position.
Can it get it done in the playoffs? No,
Well,
we can't.
Here's the thing. That the Browns right now, they don't need to worry about getting it done in the playoffs. They just need a veteran quarterback to stabilize that position.
They need a quarterback that can win a game.
They need somebody who can put them back into relevancy. Kirk Cousins can do that. If you go with Kirk Cousins, you can have him play for the next 4 or 5 years, and then later down the road, or even this year. Maybe I would not actually complain if they went and got Josh Allen with the 4th pick because I think he'll be there.
I don't think. I think if Josh Allen is there, he's not going to be there until 4.
I think he'll be there.
I think he'll be taken by the Giants at 2.
What?
Or, who
The
has
Giants
3.
are like full on committed to Rosen if they take a quarterback.
I can totally see the Cleveland Browns taking John O'Corn in like the 3rd or 4th round.
Don't even. Anyway, if they got Josh Allen, he has to sit for at least 2 years.
1 year at least.
And
Anyway,
ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, like if you're just beginning to listen to us, the draft is really where Donovan and Jacob start to have their verbal confrontations.
It really is.
anyway,
You should you got into your fights with Mitch Trubisky versus Myles Garrett, and now it's a pair of quarterbacks between another pair of quarterbacks that they should take.
well, it's really just Darnold versus Allen with us right now. Anyway,
All right, want to get on to
that's just final thoughts on this.
Okay.
I forgot where I was going. Anyway, at this point, I think it's just best that we wait a couple years because I think there'll be some good prospects in these next 2 or 3 drafts that will be good enough. I'm not sold on any of the quarterbacks this year.
I'm not either.
Okay, I'm going to step out real quick for a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. Bye, Jacob. We'll see you.
See you tomorrow.
And with that, we will move on to the NBA and
You mean the NFA?
not the National Floppers League.
The F is not an expletive.
By the way, Brady is officially listed as questionable for Sunday. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers for a moment, shall we?
The diva loaded
Had
Cavaliers.
a 23-point lead against the Orlando Magic in the 3rd quarter last night, and they only won that game by 1. And I didn't watch the game, but from what I picked up from people, it's like the starting 5, no surprise to me anyway, looks just uninspired, and they're doing their quote-unquote January slump. First of all, as a fan, I don't want to hear nothing about a team saying, well, it's just January, so they don't care. I want to hear about my team actually going out there and putting the effort and win. I have more problem losing that way than losing by, we just really don't care. As a Charlotte Hornets fan, I watch the Charlotte Hornets, whether they are winning by 20 in a close game or getting blown out by 20, put 100% on the floor every night. And so as the Cavs, who have a starting 5 of, what is this? Their starting 5 is Isaiah Thomas, J.R. Smith, LeBron James, Jay Crowder, and Kevin Love. That's a starting lineup. And then you have Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade coming off the bench. That is a lineup that should be destroying opponents,
Yeah.
especially teams like the Magic. It shouldn't be a 1-point game. They should be out there.
You got a super team right now.
They should be out there shredding opponents to pieces. Why did you do that?
I'm in a weird mood.
Wow. I felt kind of good, actually. Actually, I have, like, this thing. I like when my hair is being touched and stuff. It's because, like, my scalp is kind of dry and makes it itchy all the time. So, yeah, actually felt kind of good. Anyway, what are your take on the Cavs and their lack of effort?
Get rid of Tristan Thompson. Bring in a true defensive center. Or bring in someone that can actually play defense. And bring in some more shooters. And bring in people that'll share the ball. The Cavs aren't going to win the championship.
I don't even see them getting.
No, I don't see them getting past the second round. Honestly.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
And I mean, that's LeBron's gonna leave. He's gonna go play for the Clippers.
I'll tell you can say that.
Clippers.
Oh yeah, I think he's gonna go to LA. We're like, actually, screw you, Ball family. He's gonna go play.
Can we not bring them up?
I would see the Spurs or the Rockets as his top plays. People are like, no, he's gonna go play at Golden State. I'm like, there's no way. First of all, they can't even afford him. Second of all, they can barely afford what they have now. Anyway, go ahead, Adam.
I know who can save the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Triggered. Anyway, so it's just with the Cavs at this moment, it's like, I understand it's January. They stopped caring in January. They kind of just float to the All-Star break. But they definitely do need to get a try. I think you're right. They need a true defensive center. There's 3 players in my mind I would like to see them go after.
Boogie Cousins.
Yes, Boogie Cousins.
Anthony Davis.
Well, they're not going to get both.
I know, but
I'd
they
like
should
to
go
see
for one.
3 players that they could actually legitimately get all at once. Boogie Cousins, Nerlens Noel to back up Boogie Cousins, and then
Blake Griffin.
no,
I think they could get Blake Griffin.
Blazemore from the Hawks. And why? All 3 of those players are great defenders. Boogie. Oh, that's what happened. Boogie Cousins is a great scorer from all over the court. Bazemore is starting caliber. And Nerlens Noel's a good rim protector. And I just think he hasn't had a true good enough opportunity to play. He's been just he was shuffled around in Philadelphia, then he kind of has been shuffled around in Dallas. I think he would be a good fit for the Cavs too. The odds of them getting all 3 players, probably not good. I think they're probably going to get any of them, probably not.
I think if they could put a deal together with like JR and Shumpert and try to they should like JR, Shumpert, and Thompson and go after Anthony. Is what I'm thinking.
If you're getting Anthony Davis, who would you say Shumpert, Tristan, and JR? You would have to throw the Brooklyn pick in there.
I don't think so. I think if you're trading 3 players for 1, I think that'd be good. I think they could.
But they're gonna want something.
Honestly, I would trade New Orleans the entire Canton charge for Anthony Davis. They won the Canton charge here. Have them. We'll keep the team name. You can have all the players.
You're gonna have to give up a lot more for that. It's because they're gonna want something to build with. That's the point. Maybe they would take the Cavs, the Cavs' actual pick in that deal. Well, I think they'd have a better luck trying to get Cousins.
Well, I think they'd have better luck going after Blake Griffin. Honestly, he's an aging player. I think the Clippers are getting tired of him a little bit. I'd try to go after Blake Griffin. Maybe then try to add in something for Boogie Cousins down in New Orleans in a 3-team deal.
Well, here's the thing. Blake Griffin just signed a huge contract, one that won't work with the Cavs, what they have right now. What they are saying, though, is that DeAndre Jordan would actually be a better fit for the Cavs. He's a rim protector, great true center. He can score offensively down in the paint, which is really what they need. They need to get Kevin Love out of the center first and foremost. And he can't play their defensive.
Do you agree with me now that the Celtics have won the trade?
No.
I still wholeheartedly believe. I said the moment that happened, the Celtics won that trade. They got arguably the second best, arguably the best shooter in the NBA, and in the top 5 players.
I'm still waiting on the Brooklyn pick. That's why. The Brooklyn pick is the one thing that's going to be in. I still think Isaiah Thomas has still got a way to go to 100%. He's not back fully, but that Brooklyn pick is still a huge wild card in the factor to that. And in other news, another team that's close to my heart, Charlotte Hornets today basically all announced that they're ready to start rebuilding. They have officially opened up the trading market to Kemba Walker, their all-star point guard.
Add him to the Cavs.
It is. I'll talk about that in a second.
How
All-star
much cap
point
space
guard.
do the Cavs have?
More than Golden State.
They also have announced that Nick Batum, who I would be glad to see go by because he has been an absolute disappointment in my eyes at this point for what we paid him. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Dwight Howard. All put on the opening.
Dwight Howard, he's still playing?
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
he retired.
He's actually been having probably his best season outside of Orlando with us. And partially that has to do with...
That's Mr. Mosby's cousin.
Is it really? What?
Did you ever watch For Sweet Life on Deck?
I did.
They did an episode without, or it was his brother or something.
Oh.
It was
Dwight
great.
Howard was...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that episode. Anyway, I think it was his brother, because I was like, you're his brother? Because Mosby's so small.
I turned it off.
Anyway,
So
so there actually, I did see Bleacher Report say that they could that the Cavs would have to put together a package of, I think it was Shumpert, Thompson, JR.
is Bleacher Report this
Oh.
credible though?
What?
Is Bleacher Report this credible though?
I mean, it's
Compared
just
to
a
others?
rumor.
Yeah.
Bleacher Report's pretty good. But this is just like a rumor of what they say would have to happen. Goodness. And then, the center they got from the trade with Boston too. I can't think of his name right now. And also the Brooklyn pick. In return, they would get Kemba Walker, Nick Batum, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I could see the Cavs actually wanting Dwight Howard because he's a center, he's a rim protector, and he actually can do quite a bit offensively when he's put around the right people. That being said, that would be a trade I would go for as a Hornets fan just because of that Brooklyn pick. Because we would say goodbye to J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert and Tristan Thompson. Because I think at this point the Hornets have started to realize that the way they're at, they're not going to get anywhere. They need to start a rebuild, and that Brooklyn pick will help a lot with a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And I for them to give up Kemba Walker, I think will take a lot for them to say goodbye to him. And of course, he doesn't want to be traded. He actually came out and made a statement that he'd be devastated if the team traded him. And I think that's because he loves Charlotte. I think he loves the team he's on. I think the team has built a good atmosphere. I want to see them start winning, and I think with this current roster, with some of the people we have on this roster, we just can't do that. But right now, I think, in my opinion, the top 4 teams in the NBA are Golden State, the Boston Celtics, Houston, and the Raptors.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way they're playing. I would throw the Cavs in there, but the Cavs, the way they're playing, aren't. Which is exactly why you can't throw them in there. There's been some trade rumors also that the Celtics are going to make a run at Anthony Davis, which I think will just put them right there, their championship right there, if they get Anthony Davis, especially because it's looking actually more and more like Gordon Hayward's going to be able to return before the playoffs.
I'm honestly thinking that the Cavs are going to go after Anthony Davis hardcore with all they can. I think they'll offer that number 1 pick. I think they'll offer Shump, Tristan, and JR. Get rid of because they've all underperformed since the championship season.
I think JR is just washed up. I think he's had his best time.
And I honestly think they'd also consider Derrick Rose in that. Oh, yeah, and we're going to take a quick break here on further review. We'll be back with your weather report, and we'll keep talking NBA and then get some NCAA basketball, some NHL action, and we'll talk Daytona Day. as it's rapidly approaching.
30 days.
You're listening to Further Review here on 88.1 WBGU HD2 Falcon Radio.
Are you interested in career and sports broadcasting?
That's a mouthful.
If so, then Game 3 Radio Sports Organization.
I'm just gonna wear my headset like this the rest
This
of the time.
past year, we broadcast
I forgot that camera was there.
football, basketball,
Let's check the comments.
I wumbo, you wumbo,
She wumbo.
he, we, me, wumbo.
Which one's next?
WHSAA.
We have one viewer, and I think it's me.
And then the non-legal.
Guys, we've had 3 viewers at our peak today. Hey, hey, mama, ba ba da ba da 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 da.
But I don't want higher attendance than the GPA.
Anyone applying for executive? No.
I don't have the GPA.
Neither does Leo.
Was he going to apply?
Yes. But yeah, he's like crap. He saw the GPA requirement. Oh no. I hate
It's one of my favorite songs on here. Further Review. Yourself.
I don't like this.
Donovan Mann. Jacob Seidel. Well, screw you, Donovan.
So now that we're back, NBA conversation, let's take a look at some of the upcoming matchups as soon as this thing loads. Here we go. Now clicking on the NBA. Ooh, Spurs Raptors. That should be a good one. I think the Spurs are at a 30-16 click. And every time I check in on the Spurs, they always are losing. So I thought they were underperforming. But actually, they're not. I still like the Raptors in this one. I think the Raptors are where they thought they were going to be last year. I take the Raptors over the Spurs in Toronto. Guys?
Oh, yes, most definitely. The Toronto Raptors are going to do great against the Spurs. Does Jared Sullinger still play for the Raptors, or did he retire?
Ooh, I don't know.
Jared Sullinger, in the heyday of Ohio State basketball, he should have won that national. He should have won a national title, but
Greg Odom.
We'll also take a look at the Heat in the net. The Heat in the net are playing tonight.
let's go Brooklyn.
I got
Want
can't.
Brooklyn to lose.
I never made my pick in the last game.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
We just took on
Our
Johnny
home and
Manziel.
native
Can we stop?
land.
Please, guys,
You can stop. Jacob can.
We took on Johnny Manziel. He's playing.
CFL. Good luck. Good luck and good riddance to Johnny
I
Manziel.
think he'll be more successful there because you don't have to be
In the
pocket
CFL.
presser.
But you
The
only
CFL.
have 2 downs. to move the ball.
Who's the one guy?
But you only have to do 5 yards.
No, it's 10.
Though.
Jacob. Who was the one guy that went on the Trump course?
Rosen.
Rosen. CFL. We got Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, and Josh Rosen.
No,
Tim
no.
Tebow's playing baseball.
He'll make a cameo in the CFL.
Honestly,
Can you imagine the media
Tim
circus? of
Tebow
this?
is making the major leagues this year.
Can you,
simply
He's trying out.
well,
simply because the Mets are that bad.
what I was
They got Jay Bruce, who's apparently an average player, according to the executive director, Ryan Shorbat. I still can't believe he said that.
well, the point I was trying to make was, can you imagine the media circus if the CFL would have got those 3 players?
Baker Mayfield,
Baker Mayfield.
Lamar Jackson.
Next subject.
Okay, we got the Heat and the Nets. The Heat in Brooklyn, very slightly.
I think the Heat are going to burn the Nets down.
You get an applause on that one.
No.
He's just sticking your jerk.
Was that your pen? I just found it on.
No, it's not my pen. I don't use these pens.
Oh, wow, this is not a good matchup. This is not a
I
good
still use the
game.
ones that you dip it the thing in.
Oh, I love those. They're fun.
I legit don't have, but wow, there are not some good matchups here. Thanks. I'll be right then. Wizards and Pistons. That's probably the best matchup of the night, which is why it's the Wednesday night primetime game. Pistons hosting them in the Little Caesars. I'm gonna give the Pistons this one.
room.
Jacob.
Sorry, I was looking
Back
at
to
a
Earth.
post from Noah Yingling.
Oh no, now I gotta look at
What were you saying?
it. Welcome back to Earth. We're talking Pistons and Washington.
Malice at the Palace, I mean Little Caesars.
All right, now we're gonna move on to some NCAA football. I think the first notable thing
Basketball.
is that basketball. I think the first notable thing is that
Let's go blue. Take down state.
it was the women's team.
I don't care.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No. It's a men's team.
They play Michigan State.
I refer to Michigan State as
Oh.
state.
All right, because we're Ohio. Geez. Anyway, let's talk about real quickly. Trae Young turned the ball over 12 times, which is a Big 12 record for turnovers by a freshman. Actually, I think overall in a single game when they lost, was it Kansas State, I believe?
Something like that.
There was an ugly loss, and Oklahoma suffered. I think they were the number 14 at the time. Ohio State finally gets their due, and they are ranked. Which, you know what upsets me? Michigan had to do less to get ranked than Ohio State did. Michigan just had to beat Michigan State.
Well, you see, here's something else that's actually really entertaining, not really impressive. Ohio State's coach, I forget his name.
I do too.
Anyway, he's the first coach to start 7-0 in the Big Ten in 95 years.
How can you forget his name if he did that then?
Because I honestly didn't. I never got his name when he was hired. Honestly, I'm still upset that Bad Mata got fired for.
What kind of a fan are you, Jacob?
I honestly haven't watched Ohio State basketball since I was in junior high. Because I just got so upset with college basketball as a whole.
Why?
I do wish that they would eliminate the one and done rule. I think
Why'd you get so upset with college basketball back then?
because they started issuing the one and done rule, and then it started becoming very lopsided. I will say this.
So
It's-
they got Fox Sports got a picture of the South Carolina's coach. Jake,
They
Jake.
just beat what did they just beat? South Carolina just beat someone pretty significant.
Wait. Ohio State is playing Minnesota in Madison Square Garden
so
When?
on the 20th.
So tomorrow?
Yeah.
what's Louisville doing?
Nothing.
Guys, tickets are $35.
Hoping their program doesn't get shut down.
You want to go to the Ohio State Minnesota game tomorrow in New York?
I'm good.
Start spreading the news.
Anyway,
Hold
let's-
on. ESPN's #1 story. NCAA President Mark Emmert details the steps Thursday that the association plans in response to charges of bribery, fraud, and corruption. What a surprise that is!
I'm leaving
And men's
today.
basketball. This is the last guy to be talking about stuff like this. In my
I
opinion.
want to be a part of it.
Put his slider down. Anyway, so yesterday we saw a couple matchups. Michigan,
Sad.
by the way, Michigan was taken down by 20 points to Nebraska, so they're not going to be ranked anymore. Gonzaga lost to
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. I said Gonzaga. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's.
as long as we beat State, then there's nothing to worry about.
And then, speaking of states playing Indiana today. It's the only matched team, or it's only ranked team playing today. They're playing Indiana. That should be a good one. Indiana's typically a pretty good basketball school. They just haven't been this year.
Bobby Knight, best college basketball coach of all time.
Wouldn't.
Okay, besides Wood. Bobby Knight.
Let's
Okay.
take a look at some
Coach
of
K.
Bobby Knight.
I'd take Coach K. Anyway, so now we're going to take a look at some of these matchups on Saturday. Quite a few because Saturday is a good day for basketball. We got we got Ohio State taking on Minnesota. That's going to be a good one. Apparently, it's in Madison Square
Did
Garden.
you just mistake Ohio State for Michigan?
I don't know where I was going with that. Tennessee's going to be playing South Carolina. Purdue, the number 3 team in the country, is going to be playing Iowa. Number 1, Villanova, is going to be playing a team that can be good, and UConn. Number 7, Wichita State will be playing Houston, and number 15, UNC will be playing Georgia Tech. Some other important matchups to note is number 4. Oh, stop that, please. Please stop that.
I'm sorry.
I keep thinking you're turning off my mic because I stopped hearing myself.
No, you stopped it.
We got a ranked Big East matchup between number 11 Xavier visiting Seton Hall.
Who cares?
Seton Hall.
Not Seton Hill. There's a distinction.
And then Kentucky will be playing Florida, who can be good at times, TCU. Some pretty good matchups going on here this coming Saturday. And, yeah, so I've got to look forward to that if you want to watch some college basketball all over the ESPNs, the CBSs, the Big Ten networks. Some Foxes are hosting some of these. ACC Network, which is an ESPN thing. Yeah, so all that looks pretty good. And top article on ESPN for Ohio State, or actually just in general. You want to know what it reads? Wait, Ohio State is a Big Ten contender?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think they've all of a sudden become relevant in the Big Ten again after they started out really good under Mata and then, kind of fell off. Probably because, you're right, Mata was following
NCAA recruitment rules.
Let's talk about that one and done rule, shall we?
There should be 2 and done.
Should be 3 and done. It should be
There's been
the same as
proposals.
the NFL.
There's been proposals for 3 and done, 2 and done. What I want to see happen, actually, I think this would be a good idea. Okay, you want to go prep to pro? Actually, this is 2 things I would like to see happen. You want to go prep to pro? Okay, you can go prep to pro. You got to spend 2 years down in the G League.
Yeah.
Because that way you're getting paid, which is ultimately what you wanted. You wanted to get paid. But you're still developing as a basketball player.
There's 3 players. There's only 3 players I can think of that came out straight out of high school and did legitimately good.
LeBron,
Kobe Bryant,
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
You could kind of throw Dwight Howard into that conversation. He hasn't been awful. He's been an all-star quite a few times. But yeah, as far as like superstar players, those would be the 3 people I would think. And if you choose to go to college in my rule, you have to go for 3 years.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be amazing.
You can't one and done. Blue Jays acquire outfielder Randall Grichuk from Cardinals for right-handed pitcher Dominic Leone and right-handed pitcher Connor Green.
What about R.A. Dickey? Do they still have R.A. Dickey?
I don't know. That was just the movie.
You guys remember when R.A. Dickey was actually a relevant pitcher?
Oh, boy.
No one could figure out his knuckleball. No one.
Remember when the Browns were good?
No, I wasn't born yet.
I actually got for Christmas a book.
No, you were alive. They went 10-6.
Oh yeah, true.
It was the history. Yeah, one season. It's the history of the Browns.
I know
It's
your
told
girlfriend
through-
told me she was buying it for you. She sent me a Snapchat of this is Donovan's Christmas present.
And you want to know, because it just talks about the good, you want to know how thin it gets the closer to the current time we get? It really does. It's like, there's okay, 5,
Does it
6.
talk about Peyton Hillis?
What?
Does it talk about Peyton Hillis and the one season Peyton Hillis was amazing?
I don't know.
Ran right down New England's throat.
I haven't.
And we still lost.
No, you won. You
Yeah,
beat
we-
New England.
It's like the first.
You killed on New England.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the first 5/6 of the book.
It was the next time we
is-
played New England that we
Yeah.
lost to them. We should have beat them.
It's like the first 5/6 of the book is like the 80s and before, and then
So-
there's everything post 80s and then the move. It does mention the move.
So the first 2.5 thirds.
What? Yeah, 5/6.
2.5 thirds.
5/6.
Jacob's out of it.
Because 2.5 thirds is not a very good-looking fraction. It's like 2.53. You can't simplify down to a decimal of a
That'd
fraction.
be about 2.75 or 2.7. It's a 2.8 somewhere around there.
What math do you study?
2.5 thirds. If 2/3 is 66.6%,
But you can't have 2 point blank of a fraction.
yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Well, I failed math, so
The simplification of fractions is.
Still not as
We're
bad.
not math majors.
Still not as bad as George Bush.
I really hope my dad's not listening to this because he would be cringing as the 7th grade math teacher that he is. Anyway,
Hi,
now,
Mr. Man.
now for your weather.
If you're watching, Mr. Man, leave a comment below.
I don't think he's watching. He'd be listening. It is 35 degrees and sunny. That has not changed. My battery is running out on my phone. Low of 31. Partly cloudy. Sunset still expected around 5:34. So about a half hour we'll get out of here. Saturday is 39. Low of 35.
Hooray for kittens. That's what it says.
Sunday, it'll be 40 with a low of 39. That's changed. The range has now only gone to 1 degrees. 40% chance of rain. Monday, it has now become a 90% chance of rain. 51 degrees as your high, 35 as your low, and it's going to be windy on Tuesday.
Outside, it's going to feel like you got kicked in the hippo's yawn.
All right. And so let's move on to some MLB since I already talked about that trade. Jacob, do you want to talk about the trades the Pirates have made and how it is completely...
They are dismantling everything. They sent Andrew McCutchen
They should.
to San Francisco for 3 minor leaguers.
They're trying to right the ship, and instead they're...
No, they're definitely in teardown mode.
and I think their fan base is incredibly upset about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like the Indians fan base is incredibly upset that they've done literally nothing in the free agent market.
No, they've done stuff. They've let people know.
And I honestly think that the Indians can't afford to let Kipnis leave now, and I think they're going to try to convert him to an outfielder full time.
I think they need to trade him.
They can't afford to trade him. They need his bat.
The Mets apparently wanted him. I don't know what for, but the Mets wanted him. And apparently, the trade was all but done, and somebody in the Mets, really high up in the Mets, pushed the stop button. I don't know too much of the details, but I did see something about that.
I honestly think Yan Gomes is going to end up being traded.
I wouldn't trade Yan. He's our better hitter as far as... Well, okay,
Right, but we have
we've got Mejia.
Yeah, we've got Mejia in the
Mejia.
minor leagues.
Yeah,
And so even if they might keep him till part of the way into the season.
because he's supposed to be a good hitter, right? As a catcher.
Yeah. Okay, I need to step aside real quick.
Turn his mic off. Yeah, definitely. Because I've been frustrated by the Indians. They've let 2 of their better relievers go. They let 2 of their better relievers walk in free agency. They let 2 of their better bats, as far as home runs go, and somewhat hitting percentage go. And they really haven't acquired much. Actually, I haven't acquired anything except an older outfielder who can't really run anymore and can't hit. It certainly seems like the Indians kind of have forgotten what to do. I would not be surprised to see them knocked out of contention. Our colleague Noah Yingling still thinks they're going to win the Central just because of lack of strength in the Central, but he says he doesn't see them getting past the DL. Or the DC.
No.
And the Mets have welcomed a bunch of players, including Tim Tebow, to try out to become part of the majors this year. Would not be surprised to see him get accepted because he's a popularity thing and people have already bought his jerseys. So yeah, that should be fun to watch. And spring training to start soon. The Cavs apparently have expressed interest in trading for Kings guard George Hill, according to this notification I just got. And so, yeah, and also today the MLS Super Draft was on. Go on in, Jacob. Anything else you want to say on MLB before I actually move on to talking about the Super Draft?
Not really.
The MLS Super Draft was on today. The brand new expansion franchise, the
LAFC.
LAFC, held quite a few picks. They held the first
Adam.
overall one.
Thank you.
LAFC
I'm going to come over there and strangle you.
held
Thank
the
you.
first overall pick, and can you guess who they picked and what school he came from?
I'm guessing
Johnny
he came
Manziel.
from Akron.
He did come from Akron.
I don't know any of Akron's players.
Johnny Football.
He was a forward out of Akron. I can't remember his name right now, but he was drafted to the MLS, and he was the first selection by that franchise.
Do we want to move into weekly
The-
grievances?
That's
Yeah, in a minute.
that's in our last segment. I don't know why it does that. It gives me a BGSU page block, but this is the link. It's a search homepage. I don't know. Anyway, let me go look it up on Twitter because it's where I was getting this information. I can tell you that the Crew picked up They've drafted 2 players. They drafted a forward out of Virginia. They drafted a forward out of Virginia and a goalkeeper out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Edward O.Y. Alexander out of Virginia.
The forward they picked up.
Yep. I don't think he is graduating yet. I think it's draft rights because he's class of 2019.
So yeah, the super draft was today. Not a lot of people know about that because obviously it's the super draft. Not a lot of people watch MLS to begin with.
Do we want to go into BG Sports right now?
No, that's in the last segment as well. Hey, hockey.
Right.
NHL.
NHL. Do I even need to say it? The Golden Knights keep rolling.
Yeah, that's.
But actually, we're not going to start in the NHL. We're going to start in the AHL,
Good.
where the Charlotte Checkers hosted. Was it the Rochester American? No, I forget who they hosted. But they would not let fans in the gates. They wouldn't let fans even drive to the stadium because of a winter weather conditions in North Carolina.
I'm sorry. I meant to talk about this earlier in the show. The city of Charlotte has been shut down for 3 days.
All I saw was a powdering of snow on the videos they showed.
The issue is the roads freeze, and we don't down there. We in Charlotte don't have the. Somebody told me we have like 1 snowplow in the city of Charlotte. We just don't. We don't fund to have this equipment because this isn't a huge occurrence to us. We'll get like 1 storm a year, and then what happens is we just shut the city down for 3 days. Literally, my sister had 1 day of school this week because of MLK Day, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no school because of snow. And trust me, you don't want to be out on those roads. I have gone sideways trying to drive to work when I didn't have to because nobody told me we closed because the road was just a sheet of ice. They have enough to take care of the major highways, and that's it. And so, yeah, I don't...
Anyway, Charlotte ended up winning 4-3 in that game, but Bojangles Coliseum, yes.
Yeah.
Bojangles Coliseum.
Most, if you have a huge school, unless you're one of the 2 huge, like really huge schools, if you have a big class, you graduate in Bojangles Coliseum.
It was,
I didn't. My class was only 120 people.
empty besides media and the players on the ice, and it was actually a really cool thing to watch. So we'll get into, I'll talk Jackets real quick. Jackets beat the Stars last night 2-1 in a shootout, and that's the first game the Jackets have played since the 12th. So they finally got back onto their next game is against, again, those streaking Golden Knights, who they are, 1 second, 3-2 in their last 5 starts, or 3-1-1, as one was an overtime loss. But no, the Golden Knights are 30-11-3, and the Jackets are 26-18-3. Take a look at your standings. If the playoffs started today, it would be for the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay with 65 points, followed by Boston with 60 and Toronto with 55. Then Washington with 60 points, New Jersey with 56 points, and Columbus with 55 points would be for the Metropolitan. And then if you look at the West, the Central Division, Nashville leads out with 60, followed by Winnipeg and St. Louis. They both have 59 points. And then Vegas atop the highest in the East. They have 63 points, or the West.
Sorry, here's a comment going back on quarterbacks for the draft. There was an interview with the former head coach who just retired, Bruce Arians from the Cardinals. He said on this, he loves this year's QB group. He said, There are so many good ones. This might be the best year of God in the last 20 years.
This is the guy who was quarterback coach for Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and he was the head coach of the Cardinals. And honestly, I think he retired in hopes that he will get to the Browns next year. Because he was commented back in 2015 that he said, I would have loved the opportunity to take over and bring the Browns back to being competitive.
He would still fail.
And anyway, we'll get rounding out the West Pacific. Vegas on top with 63 points, followed by San Jose with 54, and Calgary tied also with 54. Your wild card teams from the East would be the New York Rangers and Pittsburgh Penguins, both with 53 points. The Philadelphia Flyers right behind them. And then in the West, Dallas with 56, Colorado with 53. Los Angeles and Minnesota also with 53 points. Colorado has more wins and less overtime losses. That gives them the tiebreaker there. So there you have it. There's your NHL update.
What time is puck drop?
It's like no matter
Tonight?
Yeah.
I believe it's 7:07.
7:07?
It's like no matter what the Knights do, no matter what button they push, they win.
Oh yeah. Come on, dude. What the heck?
Yeah, the Knights have probably been the biggest surprise in sports this year.
What were you saying, Jacob?
They beat the Lightning, the best team in hockey, last night. And then we'll just take a quick look at BG hockey. They got swept last weekend.
Well, we'll leave this for the sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let
me check here.
Quick comment here then on NASCAR coming up in about 30 days. Starting the season, actually, and then right before that will be the, what do they call it now? Used to be called the Budweiser Shootout.
7:37 is puck drop tonight.
Good. I'm going to try to go, actually. Oh, goodness. I think they call it, the Clash. That's right. It's called the Clash now. It's basically their preseason race where the former winners of the Clash are eligible to race in it. I believe if you got a poll between this Clash and the last Clash, which just means you're starting first, you qualified to start first, you're in it. So there's that, but the Daytona 500, I believe, is in 30 days. Just a couple of notable changes. Danica Patrick has retired from full-time racing and is apparently dating Aaron Rodgers now, according to many reports.
Danica Patrick is a Bears fan.
Funny. It's actually kind of funny. Anyway, she will be racing the Indianapolis 500 and the Daytona 500, but after that, she says she's done. Eric Amarola, who drove the 43 last year, has moved on to drive her former ride at the number 10 for Stewart Haas Motorsports. He took his sponsorship with him. Taking over the legendary number 43 is a rookie. His name is Darrell Wallace. He goes by Bubba. He is going to be the first African-American driver, I think that's ever to start in NASCAR's top level. So we look forward to that. Also taking over the legendary 24 is going to be another rookie, William Byron, as the guy, Chase Elliott, who was driving it the past two seasons, now moves to drive the number 9, which is what his father drove when he raced for NASCAR. And
who's taking over the 88?
The 88 is going to be taken over by a rookie, Alex Bowman. He took the majority of the substitutes 2 years ago when Junior was out with a really bad concussion that kept him out for half the season. I actually suspect there was more going on there than they let on. He actually qualified on the pole for the next to last race. He kind of split that. He split the substitutions with Jeff Gordon because he did some of that because Hendrick asked him to. And with that, we'll step aside. You are listening to further review. Donovan Mann, Jacob Seidel, Adam Lagaw here on Falcon Radio.
Bop, bop, bop.
PSA or probably the one.
Let's take a time out to talk
That's
about
a PSA.
athletics.
Said PSA, I probably did it once. Play a promo after this, then not legal. And we'll come in with our weekly grievances, and I've got a really good one that gets me triggered, and it's my newest pedestal piece. Where'd you get that jersey from?
Authors.
How much it cost?
60, I think.
Somebody told me that they're actually cheaper at the ice arena. Somebody, like...
Not the real ones. These ones might be. They didn't have these in the ice arena. I'll have a look.
Oh, man.
I bought a pair of ice skates.
At the...
No, at Dick's Sporting Goods back home because they were $80. They were on sale.
Located at 174 South Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio.
I need to get them sharpened.
Hi, this is Tom Hamilton, voice of the Cleveland Indians. You're listening to all the high-flying action of
Don't forget to pull up. Hello, goodbye after this. Oh, no music?
We're coming in dry this time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you had something pulled up.
I didn't have any.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our last segment for the week of Further Review. It's one of our favorite segments. Jacob Seidel, Donovan Mann, Adam Gall here with you on Further Review and YouTube Live, which hopefully eventually will get working right. But anyway, we're going to work on our weekly grievances.
I want to go last.
Adam, you'll lead us off.
Hold on.
I
It's been a while.
I forgot we did this.
Yeah. We need to bring it back.
We have this as a fun fact. We have this as a cheer for the band now.
I don't doubt it. It's a good one to play
But
for marching bands.
we never talked about it last week. We forgot
to turn himself on.
because I was coughing earlier.
Oh, right.
And I want to do it again right now. But last week we never talked about it. Might as well do it now. Marvin Lewis.
I fully believe he got that contract extension because the Bengals were hoping that the Browns would fire Hugh Jackson. And instead they're like, well, I guess we're stuck with this guy.
How does that make sense to begin with?
They wanted, for some reason, the Bengals are in love with Hugh Jackson. I think that's because they were the best when he was their offensive coordinator.
Oh, man. Why is this guy keeping his job?
I've been asking myself that question for 12 weeks.
Yeah, the bigger question is why is Hugh Jackson keeping his job?
Yeah.
What? Oh. That had me so mad when they extended him for 2 years. No buyout clause. Didn't have to pay a cent to get rid of him. They extend. All right. It's getting me angry right now just talking about it.
It should be known that for the record that Adam doesn't really root for the Bengals.
I just want them to fire Marvin Lewis.
Anyway, go ahead.
Same, except the Browns will end up hiring him next.
I hope not.
To the tale of Jacob's roommate's free-loading girlfriends.
Dilly.
Oh boy. So I haven't had much of an issue. I've kind of recluse into my room with everything but my TV because I don't have room for my TV right now. And I'm really hoping I don't get a new roommate because I've rearranged my entire room.
Yeah, technically you can get in trouble for that. I only know this because I've had to deal with this situation before.
Well, I rearranged my room.
Okay.
But I still have it set up so that he'd have at least half of it.
Okay.
I just need to move stuff off that side of the room.
Okay. That's...
So anyway, they're not there last night, and I don't know where they were, but it was great, and I fell asleep. Probably around 11:30, 12, I start hearing shouting in my common room. They're back, they're arguing, they're yelling, watching loud TV, and I almost screamed some things that that would not have been appropriate at a church service out to them yesterday.
Or on the air.
Or on the air.
Yeah, those are...
And I can't do anything about it. I cannot do a single thing about it. And it really makes me mad.
Donovan.
Okay. Who in this studio has a toilet? On the back of every toilet, what is there?
A tank.
What's attached to the tank?
Well, actually, no. Mine doesn't have a tank.
Mine does.
What does every toilet have?
A handle.
Yes.
Does your toilet not have a handle?
No. I am sick and tired of people not flushing their toilets. No, seriously, I deal it at everywhere I go. My roommate doesn't flush it.
Mine doesn't either.
The public toilets that don't flush themselves, people don't flush it no matter what they put in there. First of all, if it's a public toilet, I still flush it because I don't trust public toilets because sometimes they don't go off. My own sister, who I share a bathroom with, doesn't flush the toilet. And it upsets me. It really angers me.
So we're both having roommate issues. Come on, dude, move down with me.
All three of us.
I really don't. Other than that, it's just like,
Please.
usually he doesn't leave like waste in there. It's usually just toilet paper he probably used to wipe waste off his toilet seat with. But still, it's just flush the toilet, please. Anybody, if you are listening, please remember to flush the toilet when you're done, no matter what the toilet or where you are.
You said both
Thank
of you
you.
have roommate issues?
I don't
Yeah.
really have
I do
roommate
too.
issues.
My roommate does the same thing.
You can move in with him.
Yeah, you could both technically move in with me. We have 2 open spots in our room right now. Okay, BG Sports. We'll start
Hold
off.
up, hold up. Want to go?
Yeah, hang on, let me get my. Yeah. So BG hockey, rough weekend last weekend. End up getting swept by Northern Michigan, 2-5 or 5-2, and then losing overtime 2-3 the next night. Tonight they play Alaska Anchorage. The Seawolves coming to town. 7:37 puck drop. That means 7:07 pregame over on 88.1 WBGU with Ryan Vallon and Leo Goldman on the call for that game tonight. And then tomorrow at 7 o'clock they play the Seawolves again. 7:07, so 6:37 pregame tomorrow on 88.1 WBGU, and I believe that's Ryan and Max Marco will be the color guy for tomorrow. They are ranked 17th in the nation right now, and that's a drop from 14 a week ago. But it's hopefully they can keep staying up there and getting a chance to get that at-large bid if they don't win the WCHA. Basketball, one of y'all.
Okay, for women's and men's basketball, both of them are coming off wins earlier this week. Men's beating Miami in Oxford, Ohio, and the women beating Kent State last night 60-50 at home in the Stro. 60-50, I already said that, right?
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you what, I broadcasted that game. The Kent State Golden Flashes have a player that drops 20 a night. She got 7 points.
Nice.
And I watched what they were doing with her defensively. She liked to try to post up a lot. Claire Gloniak did an amazing job playing physical with her all night. Unfortunately, Claire did foul out halfway through the fourth quarter, but they never let her get comfortable. She turned the ball over 4 times. Great job defensively. Both teams are playing this week in the Stro. I will be broadcasting both. Jacob will be broadcasting the second game, which is a men's game along with me. The first game will be broadcasted alongside me.
Have you made a roster for Central yet?
I have not.
Okay, I have not either.
I made a
I
roster,
did the Ohio one for the women's.
Okay.
The women will be playing Ohio.
which
The
I will
men
be
will
on
be
the
playing Central.
which I will be on the call for ESPN between Bowling Green and Ohio, which I already made my rosters for that last night.
I need to put in my stats for BG's roster. Usually for the away team, I just take the roster they have for us. I'll send you a copy of my roster once I get the stats put in if you want.
Nah, I like doing that. I like the format I do.
Which one do you use?
The one he sent us last year. I don't use the Sportscaster Life one.
Oh, I use the Sportscaster Life one.
I just like the way I do it. Just a personal preference.
You record your the games on your computer when you're there, right?
I do not.
I'm going to tomorrow,
Okay.
just in case we have recording issues.
Okay. And so, yeah, that's something to look forward to. Baseball is going to be starting up in February.
Yeah.
Baseball will be starting up on February. All those games will be brought to you by the Bowling Green Radio Sports Organization. We will be doing those games once again on Mixlr, I believe, unless otherwise posted.
I might talk to Ryan about this. We might be actually using another. I'm going to see if I can use a different format just to start trying to get used to it a little bit.
Oh, you will? Okay.
Which, I mean, we can put that in. I can set the link and everything. I want to try some new software that might improve audio quality on instead of Mixler.
All right. We will look forward to doing that. And wow. We'll talk about the women's team for a second. They started off the season, what was it, 7-1.
Yeah,
And then they fell off the wagon. They
were able to get a win.
They were able to get two. They finally got their first 2 MAC wins. They're back to back, but they started MAC play 0-4, and their last 3 games they lost 2 out of 3 of non-conference play. Which one of them was against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a really good women's basketball team.
They're playing in a high school gym though,
It's kind of fun.
because US Bank Arena is under construction.
Well, yeah. So hopefully, these last 2 games those last 2 games will be a springboard to kind of have them jump back up into the MAC
Who
standings.
do they play tomorrow again?
Ohio.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. The Bobcats have a pretty good season.
Ohio. They are 3-3 in the MAC. They are 9-8 overall, and they like to score. Like you look at their roster, there's like 4 players where it's like they set the all-time record for scoring for their high school. I'm like, okay, they like to score.
And then, of course, the men's team coming off a few good games. They lost to Akron. And that was their last game, I believe. But Akron, as you know, one of those better teams in the MAC.
Just like how they are with soccer. They're one of the better teams in the nation for soccer.
Oh, yeah. And with that, getting pretty close to scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Don't do that very often, do we?
Not anymore. We used to all the time.
The barrel's gone.
Yeah, we're scraping at
Let's
the
put-
floor now.
Let's put some more fish in there. See if we can.
Shoot some fish in a barrel.
That's what. Hey, what do we got here?
Oh, no.
Hello.
Yeah, we're on. What you want?
I just
We're going to go ahead and sign off, actually. Go ahead and start playing the song.
Okay.
No, you're good. Everybody, the executive director for BGRSO has stepped into the building. It is Ryan Strobeck, and he's wearing a suit for some reason.
I interviewed today.
He had an interview today.
I see him go.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and end today's show here on Falcon Radio. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to this amazing train wreck we're able to do every year. I'd like to thank a few people, starting off with Ryan Strobeck, Executive Director of BGRSO, along with Brendan Hall, the Associate Director of BGRSO. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rick Bussell, Chairman of the Media
You're gonna thank the whole
Studies.
exec staff.
Sorry?
You should thank the whole exec staff now. No, I'm just kidding.
I should also thank the whole exec staff. I'd also like to thank Jim Barnes, Chief Technical Engineer of both WBGU and Falcon Radio, allowing us to be heard here. And that's about it. I'd like to, again, say thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in. It's an honor that we're able to do this every week. So for Adam Gall, Donovan Mann, I am Jacob Seidel, signing off, saying I'm very sorry, and roll along, BG.
Did you load it back to current time?